Hello and welcome. As you may already be aware, Microsoft Fabric has been GA since November 2023. And since then, Microsoft has been making enhancements and adding new features to Fabric. So I thought it's a good time to review some of the features that's been released and some of the enhancements and give you an overview. So in the next series of videos, I'll be talking about different aspects of Fabric. Now, with Microsoft Fabric, there are multiple environments from data engineering to data factory to data activator and so forth. But I thought the first thing we need to start is data engineering and data factory, how to first bring in data into Fabric. Now, with Fabric, a concept called Lakehouse was released. So with this video, I'm going to talk about how you would ingest data into Lakehouse using a few different options, either a Dataflow Gen 2 or using shortcuts, maybe even upload a file directly into the Lakehouse. And then in the next series of videos, I will also address other options like maybe using a notebook and so forth. So hang on and let's get this started. Now, as you can see on the screen, Microsoft Fabric has various experiences: data factory, data engineering, data activator, data science, data warehouse, and so forth. Now, in the data engineering experience, there's a concept called Lakehouse. Lakehouse is a store for both structured and unstructured data. And to ingest data into this Lakehouse, in this video, I'm going to use Dataflow Gen 2. Now, Dataflow Gen 2 is an enhancement over Dataflow Gen 1. And the key feature in Dataflow Gen 2 is you can configure a destination for your data. So you can import data from a variety of data sources similar to Dataflow Gen 1, and then actually configure a destination, and the data could be ingested into, for example, the Lakehouse. Now, this is your Dataflow experience, Dataflow Gen 2 experience. And if you look at this, it is very similar to Dataflow Gen 1 if you've used it, or Power Query within the Power BI desktop. If you look at the ribbon, it's pretty much the same. You can use the same get data to connect to a variety of sources. Now, what I have done here is created two queries, and these are connected to a SQL server and bringing data from there. And if you look at the geography query, it's basically navigation, and I've added a custom column. That's about it. And in the weather, I have removed a column. Otherwise, it just connects to a SQL source. Right. So before I jump into the destination, let me show you what are the different source options that are available with Dataflow Gen 2. If I click on Get Data, select More, you'll see the various options available. And if I click on View More, I can see all the data sources that are available in Gen 1, pretty much available in Gen 2. Some of the sources might be work in progress, and I think the goal of Microsoft is to have parity between Gen 1 and Gen 2. For example, on-premise data sources were not supported in Dataflow Gen 2 till about 3-4 weeks ago, but now it's supported. So I'm pretty sure in the next coming few months, all the data sources that are supported in Gen 1 will be supported in Gen 2. All right, coming back to our two SQL queries. Now, this is standard. We already know how to do the Power Query part of it. Like I mentioned, the key feature is the destination. Now, you see on the ribbon here, there's an Add Data Destination option, and there are 4 options currently available. We can push this data out into a SQL Server or a Lakehouse or a Data Explorer or Warehouse. Now, in this video, I'm going to push this data into a Lakehouse. And like any other Microsoft product, there are multiple ways to do it. Either I can select the destination from here, or I can select the destination in the bottom corner here, bottom right corner. So I select Lakehouse. And now I can, if you have not already configured, in my case, I've already created a Lakehouse, but if not, you can create a Lakehouse and configure the connection to that Lakehouse. Now, once you do that, you'll be navigated to a screen where you'll see a list of your Lakehouse or different workspaces if you have multiple workspaces and the Lakehouse located in it. Now I am going to create a new table. In my case, it's a new table. If you can also use an existing table as well. And once you do that and navigate to the next screen, you'll have an option of either replacing the data in the current table or appending to an existing table. And also notice that it does a good job of doing the column mapping with the destination data type as well. Now, certain data types may not be supported currently. Like I believe like nvarchar is not supported. So there are certain things that I'm pretty sure will be supported in future. Another thing to note is if there are space in your source column names, those will not supported in the Lakehouse. So what it does is it adds an underscore where there's a space. For example, if I had station space ID, the destination would have been station underscore ID. So pretty straightforward mapping, and click on Save Settings. So that configures my Lakehouse. Similarly, I'm going to go ahead and configure the geography table to be ingested into the Lakehouse as well. Okay, now that I have both my queries configured with the destination, I need to publish this. Now the Power Query gets saved automatically. I do not have to specifically click on a save button. But once I'm ready for this to be published and the data to be ingested into the Lakehouse, I need to click on the publish button. So let me go ahead and do that. So my data flow is published and the data is refreshed. Let's quickly take a look at the refresh history to see if there are any new features added here. Now you see that I can see that there are two tables here that were refreshed, both successful. And if let's say click on this one, it says my destination is Lakehouse. So there's a lot more detail added here. And if we run into any errors, it'll be easy to debug. Maybe in future we'll do a video, we'll simulate an error and see how to work through it. For now, let's head to the Lakehouse. Since we have all the data ingested in the Lakehouse, let's see how the Lakehouse looks. All right, this is my Lakehouse view now, and you see that I have both the tables that I created, weather and geography, and if I click on it, I can see the data within the weather table. And this is the Lakehouse view. There is also a Lakehouse SQL endpoint. We'll get to that shortly. Now, another feature is shortcuts. So let's say my weather and geography data is in my SQL server, but my station information, my weather station information is in a data lake. So I can create a shortcut. So I click on select shortcut within the files, and then I could configure the data lake storage gen 2. So I provide my container.dfs.core.windows.net and the container name, provide the credentials, and I can easily connect to the data lake gen 2. So this is now this is not bringing data from the data lake gen 2 into the Lakehouse, but it's actually creating a shortcut similar to how you would create a shortcut in, let's say, your Windows Explorer. Right, so that's one option, and I've already done that. So I've already created a shortcut here, which has my station information. Now I could also create subfolders if need be, and in this case I've created a subfolder, and into this subfolder I could load files. For example, if I want to upload some files from my local system, for example, let's say my date information is in my local, I can upload files, browse my local and upload. So I uploaded date.csv here, and then if I go into this subfolder of weather data, I see the date. Now I could bring all this data now into as tables and then actually run some queries on it. Let me load the station information. So if I go to weather data, I can select the ellipsis, load to table. I'm going to select a new table. My data is comma separated. So I select that, and it's going to load stations into this table section. Now, if you notice, my table station table is loaded. My stations.csv is loaded as a table, and if I select that, I can see the station information in my Lakehouse. Now the cool thing is let's go to the SQL endpoint. So if I am a person who knows enough SQL, I can actually create SQL statements. For example, so this is your SQL view of the data. Under tables, you see the 3 tables. I've already gone ahead and created a view. But before that, let's go. I can create a new SQL query, which opens a window like this. And here I could write any SQL statement similar to how I would write in the Management Studio, or think about these as basically SQL tables. So here I'm basically creating a join between weather and stations table. So remember, weather comes from my SQL server, station from my Lakehouse or my data lake. And I'm able to create a join between those two and execute the query. Now, I could potentially, if I need to, I can save this as a view, and it creates a view. Here I've already a sample of the view. This is a view of a station table. So you can create something like this. And also notice in the bottom, you could go to the navigate to the query section, which we were there earlier. Also, you see there's a model section. This is the model view or a data model view. So you can potentially create relationships between tables and then create a report. So that was a quick introduction to Lakehouse with Dataflow Gen 2. In the next few videos, we'll talk about data pipeline and notebook. In the meantime, if you've got any questions, feel free to contact us at www.obviEnce.com.